In today's world where women are breaking glass ceilings, there exists a community where time stands still. The Amish preserve customs that outsiders find shocking. While you think you know about them, we're stepping into the hidden world of Amish women to uncover 10 rules that will change how you see their lives. Rule number 1. No makeup or jewelry allowed. In America alone, women spend over $50 billion annually on cosmetics. But for Amish women, that number is exactly zero. Amish women are strictly forbidden from wearing any makeup or jewelry, not even wedding rings. Their faces are presented to the world exactly as they naturally appear, without exception. Even on their wedding day, when most brides are at their most glamorous, Amish women wear no makeup or decorative items whatsoever. This rule stems from their commitment to demut, or humility. Drawing attention to oneself through beautification is considered a form of pride, the gateway sin that leads to all others. Rule number 2, their dolls cannot have faces. When you think of a child's doll, you picture eyes, a mouth, and painted features. But in Amish homes, little girls play with something strikingly different. Amish dolls are completely faceless, blank fabric where facial features should be. This isn't a manufacturing error, but an intentional rule based on the biblical commandment against creating graven images. The Amish believe that creating a human face, even on a toy, challenges God's role as the only creator of life. These handmade cloth dolls, dressed in miniature versions of Amish clothing, appear unsettling to outsiders, but represent a core Amish value. Inner character matters more than appearance. Rule number 3. Mandatory head coverings at all times. From waking until sleep, an Amish woman's hair remains hidden beneath her prayer covering, or cap. These white caps aren't optional accessories, but mandatory religious garments worn by all baptized women without exception. The consistency is absolute. Whether working in fields, attending church, shopping, or even giving birth, the cap stays in place. What few outsiders know is that caps are actually pinned to a second head covering underneath, usually a mesh cap that controls the hair. This creates a multi-layered system ensuring no hair escapes during daily activities. The style and size vary slightly between Amish communities, serving as a visual indicator of which specific group a woman belongs to, essentially an identity marker visible from a distance. Rule number 4. Wedding dresses are not white. When you imagine a bride, you picture white. But step into an Amish wedding, and you'll witness something that challenges every bridal tradition we know. Amish brides never wear white. Instead, they choose blue, purple, green, or burgundy dresses. But what's truly remarkable isn't just the color, it's the purpose. An Amish wedding dress isn't a one-time garment, but becomes the woman's Sunday church dress for her entire married life, worn every other week for worship. This practical approach means selecting colors and fabrics that will endure decades of use. The dress contains no lace, beading, train, or veil. It's virtually identical to her other dresses except for its new color, signifying her transition to married life. Many Amish brides sew these dresses themselves, investing weeks into a garment that represents not just their wedding day, but their married identity for decades. When an Amish woman passes away, she's often buried in this same dress, making it truly the most significant garment she'll ever own, marking both the beginning and end of her married life. Rule number 5. They are unlikely to work outside the home. In modern society, over 70% of American women with children participate in the workforce. But in Amish communities, you'll find a radically different approach that has remained unchanged despite feminist movements that transformed mainstream society. Amish women's work is centered exclusively around the home, but not working outside the home doesn't mean they don't work intensely. Their labor is constant, physically demanding, and essential to family survival. From before sunrise until after sunset, they engage in work that would exhaust many modern professionals. A typical day includes milking cows at 4:30 a.m., preparing meals from scratch for large families, washing clothes by hand, tending extensive gardens, canning hundreds of jars of produce, sewing all family clothing, and cleaning without modern appliances. Some Amish women generate income through home-based businesses, selling quilts, baked goods, or crafts, but these enterprises are conducted from the homestead and organized around their primary domestic responsibilities. What's fascinating is that Amish women generally don't see this as oppressive. Many believe that managing a household is their highest calling, a sacred responsibility rather than a limitation. The concept of having it all simply doesn't exist in their culture. Their definition of female fulfillment centers on domestic excellence and motherhood, creating a value system entirely different from modern ideals. Rule number 6: no photographs or personal portraits. In an era where the average person takes over 1,800 photos per year on their smartphone alone, Amish women will go their entire lives without a single photograph of themselves. This strict prohibition comes from their interpretation of the biblical commandment against graven images, family portraits, selfies, or even being photographed by tourists is strictly forbidden and considered a serious violation of their faith. What's particularly striking is that many Amish women have never seen a full image of themselves at all. Most Amish homes contain only small hand mirrors for practical grooming, nothing large enough to see one's complete appearance. Consider the implications of never seeing your own face as others see it, never knowing exactly how you look in your clothing, never witnessing your own expressions or how you've changed over time. This reality is unimaginable to most of us, who are surrounded by reflective surfaces and camera lenses everywhere we turn. The no photography rule creates a profound difference in how Amish women perceive themselves. Without constant visual feedback, their identity forms around abilities and character rather than appearance. There are no bad hair days or concerns about photogenic angles, concepts that simply don't exist in their mental landscape. When an Amish woman passes away, there are often no visual records of her existence, only the memories of those who knew her and the tangible items she created during her lifetime. Her quilts, preserves, gardens, and children become her only legacy, not the thousands of images that document most modern lives. Rule number 7: button restrictions. What could possibly be controversial about a button? In the Amish world, these simple fasteners carry deep symbolic meaning and face surprising restrictions that most outsiders find baffling. Many Amish communities either severely restrict or completely forbid the use of buttons on women's clothing. Instead, straight pins and hooks and eyes are the primary methods for fastening garments, hidden inside the clothing and invisible to the outside world. This prohibition stems from several historical factors. Buttons were originally associated with military uniforms and worldly fashion, both concepts rejected by the peace-loving, plain-dressing Amish. Additionally, buttons were once considered a form of jewelry or decoration, contradicting their commitment to simplicity and humility. What makes this rule particularly fascinating is how it shapes everyday life. Imagine dressing yourself or your children using only straight pins, small metal objects that must be carefully positioned to avoid injury while still securing clothing throughout a day of physical labor. Different Amish communities have slightly different interpretations of this rule. Some allow small, plain buttons in specific colors, usually black, on certain garments. Others permit buttons on men's clothing but not women's. The most conservative groups ban buttons entirely for everyone. This seemingly small restriction reveals something profound about Amish life. Even the most basic elements of daily existence are governed by community standards and religious interpretations. Nothing, not even something as mundane as how you fasten your clothing, is left to individual preference. Rule number 8: no hair cutting or styling. While the average American woman will spend over $55,000 in her lifetime on haircuts, coloring, and styling products, Amish women never cut their hair from birth until death. This practice comes directly from biblical text in 1 Corinthians that states a woman's hair is her glory and covering. For Amish women, cutting even a single inch of hair is considered a serious sin that violates God's natural order. The result is that most Amish women have hair reaching well past their waists, hair that has never been touched by scissors, hair dye, curling irons, or blow dryers. This hair is never displayed publicly but is worn parted in the middle and pulled back into a tight bun covered by their prayer cap. What's particularly striking is the uniformity this creates within communities. Visit any Amish settlement, and you'll find no variation in hairstyles, no bobs, picks, or layered looks. Every woman's hair is styled identically, creating visual harmony that reinforces community cohesion. The practical implications of never cutting one's hair are significant. Morning hair care routines involve extensive brushing and careful arrangement of extremely long, heavy hair into precisely positioned buns that must stay secure during a full day of physical work. Most fascinating is how this practice shapes Amish girls' understanding of womanhood. While young girls in the outside world often mark their transition to adulthood with significant haircuts or style changes, Amish girls have a completely different experience. Their hair remains unchanged from childhood through old age, creating a physical continuity throughout their entire lives. Rule number 9. Complete submission in marriage. In our world of equal partnerships and dual-income households, Amish marriages function with the husband as the unquestioned head of the household whose decisions are final. An Amish woman vows to obey her husband in all things, not just as a ceremonial wedding promise, but as a daily reality. Questioning or challenging a husband's authority is considered disrespectful and sinful. What makes this particularly noteworthy is that this submission extends to every aspect of life, from major decisions about relocating the family to everyday choices about household management. In areas where modern couples typically negotiate and compromise, Amish wives are expected to yield to their husband's judgment. Most outsiders are shocked to discover that Amish women don't vote on church matters. When important community decisions are made, only the men cast votes. Women's opinions are expected to align with their husband's views, making separate votes unnecessary in their cultural framework. The Amish concept of marriage isn't focused on romantic fulfillment or personal happiness. It's built around clearly defined roles that support the survival of the family unit and community. A successful marriage isn't measured by equality or emotional satisfaction, but by how well each spouse fulfills their divinely appointed role. What's perhaps most difficult for modern observers to comprehend is that many Amish women don't view this arrangement as oppressive. Having been raised in this system from birth, with mothers and grandmothers modeling this behavior, most Amish women accept their position as the natural and proper order established by God. Rule number 10. Handmade clothing only, with strict guidelines. While we scroll through endless fashion options online with next-day delivery, Amish women make every single garment they wear by hand, following community guidelines that haven't changed in centuries. Each Amish community has an ordnung, an unwritten set of rules that dictates exactly how clothing should be made. These specifications cover everything from acceptable fabric types and colors to precise hem lengths, sleeve designs, and fastening methods. What's particularly remarkable is the sheer labor involved. A single Amish dress requires approximately 3 to 4 yards of fabric and 5 to 7 hours of sewing time. With most Amish women owning only 3 to 4 EV everyday dresses and one Sunday drive-s, they invest well over 20 hours of labor just to create their basic wardrobe. The most surprising aspect for outsiders is that these clothing restrictions aren't viewed as limitations but as liberations. Amish women never experience the anxiety of keeping up with fashion trends, body image issues from ill-fitting clothes, or decision fatigue from too many choices. Their clothing simply serves its functional purpose without becoming a source of stress or identity. Every Amish dress is made without patterns or store-bought templates. Girls learn to sew by watching their mothers and grandmothers, with techniques passed down through generations. By age 12, most Amish girls can construct an entire dress from memory, cutting fabric directly without paper pattern. Perhaps most fascinating is that despite the strict uniformity of style, Experienced observers can identify exactly which settlement an Amish woman belongs to based solely on subtle details in her clothing, the particular shade of her dress, the exact width of her apron strings, or the specific style of her cap, all serve as visual identifiers of her community. Conclusion. These 10 rules reveal a world that exists parallel to our own, yet couldn't be more different. Amish women live lives deeply rooted in tradition, with boundaries and expectations that most modern women would find unimaginable. But before we judge their way of life too harshly, consider what they gain: close-knit communities, clear purpose, and freedom from many of the anxieties that plague modern society. Their lives remind us that human beings can adapt to radically different ways of living and find meaning and satisfaction even in circumstances that outsiders might view as restrictive. What rules in your life would an Amish woman find unbelievable? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If you found this glimpse into the hidden world of Amish women fascinating, hit subscribe and the notification bell to explore more extraordinary cultures with us. Thank you for watching.